we want to look at, again, this is just y equals, I'll write this up here. It's just a line, right? Just with different variables. Okay, so you can label each of these tables. And you guys you're just watching right now, I suppose. You're not necessarily printed this off already, but you can watch. I'll record this, and then you guys can fill it out again after if you like. We'll put Crazy Taxi here in this table, and then we'll put Insane Cab over here. Okay. Now, what I want you guys to do is, okay, well, how much is it going to cost me? Right? When there's zero kilometers for both of them, right? That's your question. And then you could go up by, I don't know, you could go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay, and both of them. And I'm choosing those numbers because of, I'm just looking down here. Okay. And then I'm going to see how much it's going to charge me. Okay, so remember this is going to be number of kilometers is n, right? So you're going to take these values, and with Crazy Taxi, you're going to plug in those values into how much is going to cost you. Well, C equals 0.5 multiplied by how many kilometers did I drive? Okay, well, in the first one, it's going to be 0 plus 5. So that's going to be 0 plus 5, because 0.5 times 0 is going to be 0. It's going to be 5. Okay? So which makes sense, right? Before you've even gotten in the cab for Crazy Taxi, you know it's going to charge you $5 as your starting value. Right? And then you can do it again. Sometimes you can do these in your head a little bit, right? So you go 0.5 times 1, or sorry, 5, because that's my next value is 5, plus 5. So that's going to be 2.5 plus 5 is going to be 7.5. That's how much it's going to charge you there. Okay? You can do it. I'll do it one more time, and then you guys probably get the hang of it, right? As we do more of these, at least plotting lines on this on the same grid, 2 different lines, you can kind of get the hang of this. So as soon as you recognize a pattern, you can kind of use it, right? So 0.5 times 10 plus 5 is going to be 5 plus 5, which is going to equal 10. So I recognize, and you guys hopefully do too, that those are going up by 2.5 each time. So I can go 12.5, 15, and 17.5, okay? Now what you can do now is the Crazy Taxi, and this is important. I've done these numbers in black, and maybe I'll redo the ones in the right in red, okay? Okay, it's important to make a distinction between the two lines, right? So that you can make a decision, a clear, concise decision, right? And you don't need that convoluting or making it messy having 2 of the same colored line or whatever on the same grid. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to go and plot these points down here. Now you could plot the points, so you could have noticed right from the beginning that I could start at my starting value was 5, which means I start on the y-axis at 5. And then you could have used our slope y-intercept method to do this. But we can do this both ways. This is what's nice about this sheet that we did, the 4 representations or whatever, right? They did a great job at, like, here is the words, here's the equation, here's the graph. Like, it did a great job at showing you that all 4 of those things are the same thing. Okay, they produce the same graph, the same equation, whatnot, right? So for this particular question, we can just go plot the points. So I'm going to go to 5, right? So I'm just plotting this point here, 5 and 7.5. 5, I'm going to go find 7.5. 7.5 is directly in between 5 and 10. So which means I'm going to plot it right there. And then 10 was the next one. That's an easy one. 15 and 12.5. And then 20 and 15. And 25 and 17.5. So then you can connect this. This is the important part, is that you can make the distinction between this line and the one that we're going to do next. Right? So there's Crazy Taxi right there in black. Now Insane Cab, we're just going to do the same sort of thing with Insane Cab, but we're going to do it in red this time. Right? So with Insane Cab, we know that C is equal to 1 times the number of kilometers driven, which in this case is just the axis, right? So you're just going to you do the exact same thing here, plus 2. So you're going to start at 2, because 1 times 0 is 0. All right, so there's the cost for driving no kilometers. You're getting charged $2 to just enter the cab. Okay, then C is equal to 1 times, 5 plus 2, that's going to be equal to 7. And then C is going to be equal to 1 times 10 plus 2 is going to be 12. Okay, so 7, 12. So you get the idea again. We're going up by 5s. So 15, this should be 17, and then 22, and 27. Okay. If I ever make a mistake, just yell at me, okay? You can turn your mic on or something like that if you guys notice anything, okay? Now, we're going to go do the exact same thing here. We're going to start at, where are we starting? We're starting at 2. Okay? And then 5 and 7. 5 and 7 is just right there. Just a bit below the other one. 10 and 12 is there. 15 and 17. 20 and 22, and 25 and 27 will be up off the grid. So although I think a lot of us would be like tempted to say that we're going to choose just based on looking at the equations, I was going to choose Insane Cab because it looked cheaper, right? The fact of the matter is they're charging you twice as much to drive around, right? Which starts to get expensive real quick, right? So there are some instances here in which one is better than the other, though, right? So if I look, and this is like our detention buyout, if you guys remember doing this one, that detention sheet, right? So you guys look at, if I was like, and this gets back to like, if I have $10 in my pocket and I want to know which cab company to choose, right? If I remember what's on, I should have labeled these from the beginning. Cost is going to be on this axis, and kilometers driven is going to be on this axis, right? So let's just suppose that you had $10, our question from earlier. Which cab company are you going to choose? You're going to choose Insane Cab because it hits it first, right? We also knew, because of the work we did earlier, we also knew how far, and we're just checking our answer at this point, how far we could have gone with $10. We said it was 10 kilometers with Crazy Cab. So then we know we're right. But let's just say, for instance, you're interested in you know how far you are from home. Like if you're downtown, for me, home is probably a good 15 to 20 kilometers from downtown, right? So I know, let's just go pick even 20 kilometers. I'm going to look up which cab company am I going to call. If I know I have to go 20 kilometers, I'm going to pick Crazy Cab because it's the company that's going to give me the cheaper price, $15. I'm not going to pick Insane Cab because it's going to cost me $22. Way more expensive. Not way more expensive, but more expensive, right? That's the idea. You can go both ways here, but you want to make an informed decision as to which company to go with under different circumstances, right? If I was only 5 kilometers from home, or even 3, let's just say I needed a cab because it's 3 kilometers from home, I want to go groceries or something, right? I go to 3 kilometers and I look up, Well, all of a sudden I've hit Insane Cab first, right? Insane Cab is going to cost $5, right? Whereas this one's not as much of a difference, but Crazy Cab is going to cost me something like $7.25. Right, so again, I'm just going to make the decision to call Insane Cab if I have somewhere short to go. Right. Now, there's one more thing I want to draw your attention to on this, and it's going to be the focus of what we do on from basically this point forward. Is where these two lines cross. It looks like they cross at something like 6 and 13. Right, that'd be what we call, so the lines cross, we're going to use, instead of the word cross, we're going to use intersect. So if we're going to use intersect, we're calling this a point of intersection. Okay. The point of intersection is like the entire purpose of about, like, I don't know, the next 5-6 lessons, right? We're going to concentrate on this particular point because it's the decision point. It's the point where anything past, if I go 6 kilometers or more, right? Let's say if I go 10 kilometers, I'm going to choose Crazy Cab. But if I go 5 kilometers, I'm going to choose Insane Cab. Now, this point of intersection is the point at which the two companies are the same price. Right? So if you guys are given 2 quotes for something, whatever it is, like if it's working on your car or whatever, right? You can write the equations and then tell yourself, okay, well, if they need to work on my car for X amount of time, which company is going to be cheaper, right? By doing this, and you're going to be able to answer this a little bit more accurately than just kind of like, and quicker with the next thing that I'm going to show you guys, than sitting here and writing out the table of values for both of them. Okay, that's going to be the goal. It's just to give you guys an answer the fastest way possible and the most efficient way. Okay, and the most accurate. That's the other piece. Okay. So that's it. That's what I'm going to be doing. So I'll stop the recording there.